Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend, and I'm back. It's Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, February 12th, 2023 we're in. I hope everybody is well. It might be a quiet day today, just a quick couple of readings. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. When I went to put on, I was going to actually say that I'd start at 4:10, and that thing was acting weird and funky, and so it didn't I don't know, it's acting weird. Anyway, that's the excitement. I hope everybody is well. I got to go see my friend's son in a Broadway play this week. Leopold Stott. And it was incredible. It was a really good play. It was really because it's based on it's somebody's life story, so it's a true story. So I think that always hits differently, I guess. And I won't share why it was so powerful, but it was. So if you're in the area and you get a chance, I know that they extended it a couple of weeks. It's definitely worth a look-see. Hello, Miss Ashley. I'm glad that you sent me the picture, and I asked for that. So you sent me a question. Ashley, when she purchases her question, she always writes a whole thing in the PayPal when she purchases it. And all I could feel was your anxiety and upsettedness. So I was like, can you send me a picture? Hi, Rothka. I was wondering if you would be here. How are you? How are you? Packing lovely, lovely. But I did something for him. So for my friend's son, I made flowers from the playbills because I was like, he's not gonna really care if he gets flowers, and I feel like that's a big deal. So I wanted to really celebrate him and his accomplishment. And how many kids get to be on Broadway? And maybe it'll be his only chance because he's not a singer or a dancer. He may be one eventually. You never know. But I just wanted to celebrate him and make him feel good. So I got these they have these Broadway Broadway trading cards that you can buy, kind of like baseball cards, but it's for Broadway actors. So I bought him 5 packs of those of they're not expensive. They're just $5 each of just whatever. So it's like when you buy a pack of trading cards, for baseball, it's a surprise what you get. Packing can be so overwhelming, especially it's I should really get rid of that. And sometimes you're resigned to the fact that that's more, I don't know, whatever. It's just anyway, so I got him those, and I made these flowers out of some playbills. I asked his mom to pick up extra playbills for me to make these flowers. Hello from hello, Arkansas. You don't have to tell me where you're at. We can remain as anonymous as possible. I was just telling a story until some people show up, and then I've got a couple people who've purchased readings. I've got Ali and Ashley. Anyway, so I made these flowers out of playbills, and it was really cool, and I thought it was really cool, and thankfully he thought it was really cool too, because that would be terrible if you gave, and he's a kid, so I was like, you never know. So I'm just telling a story about how I went to see a friend's son on Broadway. Anyway, and I got him these trading cards, which I think is hilarious, but it's a theater kid thing that they have these trading cards, a serious business. So he's got these 2 little lives he leads. He's theater kid some of the time, and he's in regular school with his other friends that are not theater kids or they're sports kids. So best of both worlds for him. Anyway, so shall we get started? Ashley, so I was saying I asked for I'm glad that you sent that to me, just because it helps me read his energy better than your nervousness. Sometimes I can't wade through all of that. And I felt like when I was doing that, all I was getting was the stuff about your own dealing with, your own nervousness, your own self-esteem kind of stuff. Do not apologize. There are no apologies here. You can't, feelings don't make sense. They're not logical, and you can't help feelings. They're just feelings. We can honor them where they're at. No need to apologize for them. Right? Right. Okay. So we'll start with you. I'm going to pull up the picture. Oh, hang on. I just saw the second email. It's a book. Give me a second. I don't like explanations. um, well, the first thing I say is, as a friend, he sounds like a shit. Pardon my French. I know YouTube probably won't push my stuff if I swear, but he just sounds like a big fat turd. But I'll read it. Can I ask a yes or no news? So these are paid readings, and I do paid readings here because I got into this really bad habit of I was doing them free and I was trying to answer everybody's. And then if I didn't get to somebody's, like, I got people were becoming really nasty and mean to me. Like they deserved a reading. And just like really nasty and mean. And then it was like turning me off to doing readings for people this way. And so the next best thing I came up with is like, well, I'll do paid readings. And then because people aren't nasty and mean when they're paying for them, they tend to be like a little bit more respectful. So they're $12 a question, and I will include my PayPal. And they are 30% I donate to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey because every dollar provides for 3 meals, and food scarcity is real, and people should be able to eat. And our country is not set up to help people, unfortunately. It's set up to help corporations, but I digress. And that will land you on the side of what I believe in life. But that does not get involved. My politics do not get involved in my readings. Okay, so here's if you want a reading, if you just want to hang out and see how I read, that'd be great too. Let me just double check the link and make sure it works before I send you on your merry way. Yes, it does. Okay. No worries, you're not late. I've been rambling. You know me. Okay. So Ashley, let me look at his picture. You didn't have to explain anything. You sort of, it was already, I just wanted to let you know that. Like, you really didn't. It's okay. Devry, I have you, and Allie, I have you. Okay, I just wanted to look at his name. That was all I was looking for. Okay, so I've got I've got Ashley, Allie, and Devry. So Eminem, I hope you understand. But if you don't, well, I don't know what I can do about it. The other thing is I didn't need any moderators once I started asking people to pay for questions, which is, nice. That I don't need people fielding all the craziness. Okay. But if you want a free reading, here's the other thing. I am on TikTok, and I see that probably dropped off, but I do free readings over on TikTok. You don't have to pay for them there. KK's okay. She's just kind of doing her own thing. She doesn't have to, she's going and living her life and doing stuff on Sundays instead of just hanging here, which is okay. She's young and single. I just don't want to be on too many different platforms, and I'm not in love with Instagram. I like doing readings on, I have an Instagram. I don't know. It's just not, I don't know. It's like not my thing. I'm not sure. But I do readings over on TikTok. So, but they're free there, but I also don't guarantee anybody a reading. I just kind of pick a few people and then I'm like, okay, I gotta go. See you later. Peace out. I have like more of a personal relationship here, which is kind of nice. I feel a little more connected to y'all. Okay. Yeah, KK's okay. There was no big falling out either, like big fight. I should say that. It was just like, I was like, she's like, okay, I show up. I was always like, you don't have to. I appreciate it, but it's never necessary. And I just, it's like sort of like one of those natural things. Like she could get out more and be more social and have a life. And I want that for her. Like I want that for everybody, not to feel beholden to me. I wasn't paying her. So she was just doing it out of the kindness of her heart. So, okay, let's talk about this. Can I say his name? So immediately when I looked at his picture before, I felt such a tightness in my third chakra, which is your solar plexus, which is your how you relate to the world, how the world relates to you, and your self-esteem. I'm trying not to read your picture, just his. Okay, so this is not about him, but because I want to make sure that I acknowledge your feelings and what you're going through and your emotions. That I don't want to invalidate them by saying like, I mean, he's like, first I heard he's daft, which is not a word I use, but then I also feel like emotionally, it was too much for him, I guess. I know it sounds weird, but it's like, as you usually hear girls being like this, but it's like, I feel like he loves the idea of love, but then actually being emotionally fully 100% vulnerable is a lot for him. But at the same time, when you're talking about you still have this ticket, I feel like you're not supposed to. Like I heard it's too much too fast for him, even though he like initiated it, because I feel like he's the first one who said I love you and all of this stuff. I just feel like it's too much too quick. So they're showing me you like texting and then erasing it and not doing it, like wanting to text him, erasing it, and then not sending it. And they're like, don't try to look for a logical explanation or get him to answer anything. He did. Yeah, he rushed everything that fast. So it's like I feel like he's like he initiated it all, not you. Um it's this feeling that this is what he does in relationships. Like it's really, really, really quick. And then it's all of a sudden like, well, I can't handle this and I'm backing off. I don't feel like, oh, you're supposed to take him back. And I know I said to stay there and all of that stuff. And what I got, it was just this really interesting, like, I can only tell you what they're showing me. I don't always understand why they're telling you to do things. This isn't about this reading specifically, but these are things I think about. And a lot around relationships and this idea that somehow we're not whole and worthy unless we're in a relationship, right? We need that other person to somehow validate us, whether it's to ourselves, to our families, or to society. And it's just a bunch of baloney. And I just feel like I say that because the feeling I get around this is just really like learning to see red flags, really learning to fall in love with yourself and accept yourself just as you are, knowing that you're worthy and valuable just as you are. My daughter was really sad last night because my oldest daughter was a little abrupt and, she's autistic. And so sometimes when she gets frustrated, she has a really hard time verbalizing what's wrong or so she went into my younger daughter's face and went like this because she was upset and walked away. She just did this. Like, you're talking too much. And I guess at one point, my middle daughter had said, please don't touch my stuff. And then my oldest is like, oh, fine. And my oldest doesn't really realize like tone and all of that stuff. So she doesn't understand. And I had to sit and have a conversation with my middle. And I'm saying this to you because there is a long about this, I promise I'm getting there. I was going to say something about ticket, but there's more that's coming through that, but then there's a part of my story. So, I literally just heard them say, they go, let him pay for the ticket. Let him pay for the ticket. Let him give you the money for the ticket. Just be like, okay, seriously, let him pay for the ticket, but don't get rid of it. Like, still use it. You enjoy if you wish, but I feel like don't let him pay for it. But really quick, so the thing of the story, I was then holding my middle daughter because she's very sensitive and she's been struggling with kids in her school this year because her grade apparently is full of a bunch of hooligans who do not have any sense of it. They're very individualistic and competitive and just heathens, and they're fourth graders. And so, and she's really sweet. Like, I've literally never heard her even call or refer to anybody as ugly. She's just a really nice kid, and she's always trying to figure out why people are mean, and I don't understand. And the point is like, I was like, some people just aren't going to like you in life, and it's not because there's anything wrong with you. And it just feels like, I know you keep hitting a lot of duds, and I know I keep saying this, and you're like, oh, she just says that, but it's the truth. Like, there's nothing wrong with you, Ashley. Okay, Autumn, I'll check. You are lovable, and you are intelligent, and you are bright, and you are beautiful just as you are. We don't have to once I'm here, then someone will accept and love me. We don't have to be that way. If I just hold my face just right, maybe they'll, see my value and worth. And what happens is when we project ourselves that way into the world, we accept numbskulls like this gentleman. I use that word loosely. And we accept crap like this because we think if I have a relationship, then somehow I'm validated. And that's a subconscious thing. Like within society, I'm valuable and I'm worthy because someone sees my value and worth. And I'm not saying don't cry, just get over it, but like have that ugly cry and then pick him apart if you have to. And I know that sounds really crappy, but like if you need to look at him and be like, well, look at him. And then use that also as a red flag when someone tells you they love you really, really, really quick. Red flag. Because you can't. You need to know someone. You can admire them. You can really like their energy. But love is something so much bigger and deeper. And also, when someone is so flitty with their feelings and their emotions, it talks a lot about, it's like a big sign about, well, where are they at emotionally? And the train ticket thing, I really feel like you're supposed to ask him, like, let him give you the money for it. Like, don't be like, no. Be like, yeah, send it, B. Or D in his case. I'm challenging myself not to swear. So there's that. And I don't want to say like, oh, you some of this is wrapped up in some of the like recovery you're doing. Like your body had a trauma. Having surgery is traumatic. And when your body is healing, everything feels bigger. So some of this is that. Because I feel like in like 2 weeks, you'll be able to look at it and go, oh my God, look at all that stuff I missed. That's what they're telling me. Is like, you'll be like, oh, how did I, ooh, yeah, that was. I saw something once, and they're reminding me to tell you this. That's why I'm saying it, about how how do you attract a narcissist? Like, what kind of person does that? Is it a weak person? They're like, no, it's actually someone who's really strong, but somebody who's also really like pretty open-minded and understanding of like people's imperfections. And so you start to see things and you're like, oh well, like whatever, it's not that big of a deal. And you accept things and understandably, you don't just like toss it away. So it's usually very rational, understanding, emotionally okay people. And then what happens is they get sucked into this like wave of stuff. Your surgery is not part of the reason why it happened, but I believe, and my feeling is your surgery is part of the reason why the emotional impact is so much greater. um, and I know that sounds weird, but it's like when you're think about just when you're sick, right? Like things just seem so much like it's so much more exhausting dealing with things. But no. And also, let's be real about that. If it was your surgery that caused it, thank the dear heavens that he could run early. Because what an idiotic thing to like leave for. I keep getting back to the like he can't handle the emotional connection. He can handle the emotional superficial connection, but when more was required of him, it was too much for him. And that's kind of how, and I know people throw around the word narcissist, but like that's kind of how people like that. So who are, maybe he's not a narcissist, but maybe he has a lot of those traits, right? But people who are like that have a really hard time when they're emotionally required to dig in. It's like, whoop, see you later. Can't do it. Mm-mm. Ali said, I was thinking a lot of worth lately. I'm starting to think that our worth don't have a price either. What people think, job and relationship. We're just a person is in the end. I'm confused. Can you clarify that? I don't know why my brain's not reading it like right. And I'm giggling at my brain, not you, but can you clarify that? Because I think you were trying to keep it short so you could get it in one. When I asked, I just asked quick because you said he was supportive at the beginning of the surgery or whatever. And I felt like he didn't know what he was getting himself into emotionally, like what you would need emotionally for support afterwards. And it just was too much for him. So it's not that you're too much. It wouldn't matter who it was. It wouldn't matter if it was you or some or 50 other, it wouldn't matter. Like you could have been any other person. It wouldn't matter if he is required to give more emotionally and sort of put his stuff on the back burner. He's not capable of it. I feel like it'll be brief, but I feel like they keep being they're pushing yeah, get the money for the ticket from him. He owes you. I think my sense is he offered thinking you would decline. And I say call his bluff. Because F that, you know what I mean? Nobody gets to be a turd like that and get away with it. That's a turkey move. Your value and your worth. I think this is what you're trying to say, Ashley. I don't need emotional support for this surgery. It's the second time. I understand what you're saying, but he couldn't. Our worth doesn't depend on people and things. Yes, that's exactly it. That is 1,000% it. We are valuable just as we are. We are deserving just as we are, not because we earned it, not because we got enough points when we flew back and forth and back and forth. We are valuable and worthy just because. So you're trying to rationalize somebody's behavior that is not rational, that is not loving, that is not kind. And you're saying, will he ever come back to me? And I'm telling you, I feel like no. And they're being very clear. No, this isn't it. And to ask him for the money for the ticket. And I know you're trying to rationalize it by saying, but I'm telling you, I can only tell you what I get. So I get that a lot in readings, not just you, where people are like, but I'm like, I'm just telling you what I get. It doesn't matter if it's what you needed. If you were like, oh my God, I'm having a lot of pain, whatever, to him, that's like, oh God, she's expecting something of me. It doesn't mean it's real. It doesn't mean that's what really happened. It's just they're showing that's what's going on in his head, which is what you asked me about in the initial thing was what's he thinking? He's not capable of being there for someone. I do feel like it's done with him. Again, I've been wrong before. I can be wrong, but I don't feel like it's like he's coming back. You are at right now where I was at when I was dating. And I look back now, gosh, now it's been almost 20 years because I've been with my husband since 2007. And I was so like, why don't they like me? What's wrong with me? Why am I not enough? Why is that person? It had nothing to do with that. Yeah, contact him for the money. Be like, hey, you said you'd send the money for it. You know what? I'm going to take you up on it. Okay, Venmo me, PayPal me, whatever, Zelly, whatever they use in France. But I've been where you're at. So when I'm saying all of this stuff, some of this is yeah, it's intuitive, but they're also reminding me of stuff. And they're like, Don't get your worth wrapped up in whether or not somebody likes you, because it doesn't say anything about you at all. It doesn't say that you're not enough, or you're not smart enough, or not pretty enough, or not fashionable enough, or all the stupid things that we tell ourselves. Like, maybe if I was thinner, maybe if I was taller, maybe if I was like, maybe if my hair was whatever, or if I was like, had a different job, or was like, I don't know, have a larger vocabulary, all the stupid superficial things we tell ourselves that person at the end of the day is like, it really should be what's wrong with them that they don't see my worth, not what's wrong with me. What's wrong with them? And then also, I love myself. I am lovable. I am loved. Like, because you love yourself, you're loved. And you're like, Anna, but I want a partner. But at the end of the day, you can be in a full relationship, married or whatever, and be lonely as fuck if you have not built up your core belief system about yourself, knowing that you're worthy and valuable, without adding anybody else into the mix, without adding any kind of awards or letters behind your name or a bank account full of $1 billion. You are beautiful, you are valuable, and you are worthy, and you are amazing, and you are enough just as you are. And I will keep saying this over and over again because I know people need to hear it. I have no idea. Maybe the point was learning this lesson. I have no idea. I don't understand all of it all the time. I don't know. Maybe it's to see the opportunity. Maybe it's to understand, to really, really learn, because they know us and they know when we're actually have clicked and changed our belief systems. I don't know. You're with someone like that, it's helped when they show their cards early on. Oh, it's so helpful when they show their cards early on. Listen, I dated this guy, not like seriously dated, but we hung out a little bit for a short time. And I remember like saying to my guides, like, please, please, please. And like audible, loud voice, it was like somebody grabbed me and was like, this is not going to happen. And I was like, okay. Another guy I dated, when the first time I hugged him, it was like, nope, he's not the one. Like, literally heard my guy say, and I was like, and I told him that when we stopped seeing each other. Like, we only saw each other for a couple months. And he was this like, someone will get a kick out of this on here. I know this. He had a PhD, or no, he had a master's and an undergrad degree in physics from Harvard. And he was the most uncreative, like pulling, oh my God, it was like pulling his teeth trying to get like anything out of his brain. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? He was really boring. And I felt, but I actually enjoyed watching him like squirm a little bit. Like, I don't know. It was just an interesting experiment. Like, I wasn't all in emotionally. I was just like, well, it's something to do when I'm done with work at the end of the day. Like, I didn't really care. But I remember thinking, like, I was like, if you could do anything, because he was pretty loaded, but like, if you had all the money in the world, you could do anything. He's like, climb Mount Everest. And I was like, that's fucking unoriginal. So by society standards, that guy is like blue blood. Like, I even got an image. I stopped into, I don't know where it was. It's like I don't know, it was a little ice cream place in the city. We were out one night and I wanted to use the bathroom. And so I was like, I'm going to buy a soda, like, to, because I feel like you don't just go in and use a bathroom. Like, you should buy something from there. It's still, even if I go to a gas station, I'll buy a pack of gum or something if I use the bathroom. I am like, that is ingrained in me. And I got a clear vision. I saw him with 2 sons and they would be just like him, these little blazers on and everything. I was like, not my kids. Like, I never felt enough materialistically around him. And by society standards, he's like what people, it's like, it's not all that. Devery said, yeah, Allie, Ashley, take him to the cleaners. Well, just for the chicken. Hopefully the chicken won't take him to the cleaners. He was a catch, as you would say, as one might say, and he wasn't. And I remember one time I don't think he thought I was that intelligent because I didn't have like a big fancy schmancy degree. I just have an associate's degree. And I'm like, it was like literally like he said to me once, he's like, I don't understand why people have insurance. I was like, okay. You clearly don't know how much a Tylenol costs and the world of disparity. And that was really hard for me to wrap my head around, that he was like that daft. And then I said it once, but then they were talking about combustible engines. And I took a lot of physics and science in high school and more medical science in college, but I was like able to talk about combustible engines, and his friend like looked at me like so confused. And I thought, well, I'm not an idiot. I don't know that I could talk about combustible engines anymore, but I knew it then still. It was still tacked quick in my brain because I was young enough, closer enough to high school. Anyway, I digress. Okay. So I'm moving on. I do feel like not going to happen, but I do feel like ask him for the money, because call his bluff. And then thank your lucky stars that you got the lesson early, and use this as not as a like, oh my God, it happened to me again. Use it as like, when I see somebody doing this, immediately I'm running. Immediately I'm out the door. If somebody tells me they love me within 30 minutes of us meeting, we're gone. That's a big red flag. Okay, Ashley, let me start with someone else and then I'll do another reading for you, okay? Hi, Regine. Oh, wait, you're not here. Haha. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong days. Okay, Devery, what's your question? Devery, Ali, and Autumn. My sister Lacey's job schedule is not within her daycare, resulting in my 2-hour drive. Wait, huh? Devery, you have like one of the biggest hearts in you. Like, you're so worried about everybody in your family, and I feel like that's not reciprocated. She will definitely find someone to take care of it. You don't have to worry about that. I almost feel like she had somebody else lined up, but it was easier for her to just ask you or expect you to do it rather than have to ask somebody else. You're not picky. It's not picky. So I feel like she's got options. It just makes it a little bit more difficult for her in the way, like, where this is going to sound weird, but so maybe she would be like, oh, I can't, like, can you do this? Because whatever. And then she'd be like, take an extra 30 minutes to go do something else, and you'd be watching her daughter. Like, it feels like she took advantage of it, whereas she knows she can't do that if somebody else is taking care of the transportation for her. There is some manipulation there. Okay. So she will. I heard she's already got it. So I feel like it's already kind of lined up. And I also feel like she throws people under the bus. So I feel like she'll do a sob story where it's like, oh, my sister can't help anymore. I'm stuck. I feel like she's like likes to use the victimhood story. Did I tell you to lower your expectations, Allie? I hope I didn't. She does. Okay. So it's already taken care of. Okay, so then I've got Allie, if you want to ask your question. And then I don't know. I don't know if it was pickiness or maybe I said that, but I don't remember. So I can't, but I can ask now. That doesn't have to be your question. Maybe it wasn't about like pickiness, about like, might have been about like, oh, he has to be this height and this whatever and this, like about physical attributes rather than, I think you should definitely be picky about emotional and mental attributes. You put your question in the PayPal, Autumn? Okay. Okay. I gotta be honest, he might be a little bit of a D&D dude, which is not bad because if you watch TikTok, apparently those are the guys to fall for. Because I just keep seeing him with like little figurines. Maybe he set up a playing board or whatever. And I also feel like cooking. Like he really likes to cook. He's a bit of a foodie. I mean, I think he's going to kind of be of a smarty pants. Yes, that's Dungeons and Dragons. They're not showing me that, but it doesn't mean he doesn't. They're just not showing me that. They're showing me those couple of things. And they're showing me microgreens. So he might like to like grow his own little microgreens and like maybe garden a little bit, but not like, I don't know if it's like, it doesn't feel like heavy gardening. It feels like growing his own herbs and things like that. I do feel like he's very health conscious. He feels really smart. So I feel like he might like to hyperfixate on things. Like when he gets interested in something, he like researches the heck out of it. Okay. All right. Autumn. I won't say his name, but you want to ask about dating this gentleman, and I won't say the other part. I don't feel like you will. So they're showing me something about 2 months. So I don't know if he's been in that relationship for 2 months or 2 years or something, but I'm seeing like 2 and it feels like months. It doesn't feel like years, but it's still this feeling of like, excuse me, I'm getting to know him more and be like, it's not quite the catch I thought he was. Do you work with him? Because it feels like it's a work kind of thing. No, I don't know why I feel like you're working with him. Yeah, I'm a little tired. My two youngest wanted to sleep with me last night, and so there's a lot of, you're kicking me. And then, April, move over, but I want to make sure mommy has room. Like very sweetness things, but it's like you're up a lot. So there's that. Anyway, because they don't technically share a room. They technically each have their own room, but the two of them like to sleep in the same room at night because they don't like to sleep alone, which I totally understand. It is a weird concept that we're like the adults need to sleep together and be a partner together, and like, but the kids should sleep by themselves. Like, well, I don't know. Not that they always sleep with me, but I just always think, oh, I could see why they get lonely. So, anyway, so when Daisy asked if she could sleep with me last night, then I was like, well, I have to ask April too, because she's like, yeah, I don't want her to be lonely. Like they're thoughtful of each other. Anyway, so I don't feel like you will. And I feel like the more you get to know him, the more it's like, I also feel like sort of crushing because it's a safe crush. Because he has qualities and attributes that you like, but it's also safe because you don't really have to have any skin in the game when you like somebody who's in another relationship, because there's not really being rejected, right? Because he's with somebody else. And there's not really putting yourself out there for that opportunity. Why do I feel like it's like a work connection? It doesn't feel very like I feel joking around friendly in a way, but it doesn't feel like a personal connection. Ashley, what's your other question? You don't really know him. Maybe that's what it is, why it feels that way, because it feels like it's not, it's more of a crush from a distance. Okay, so then that makes sense why it would feel like a work thing, because in work you're not really a little eczema there or something. In work you're not really, like there should be ideally a nice healthy boundary. Like, okay. It's interesting because I feel like you're walking in the streets, and just learning to appreciate what's in front of you. I honestly feel like you may not date for at least 3 months. And I know that you're always meeting someone new, but I feel like there's there's a pause for about 3 months of not dating. I don't feel like it's going to happen, Autumn. Okay. So Ashley, and again, I can be wrong, Autumn, but I just don't get the feeling that it's going to happen with him. So Ashley, I just feel like, especially for the next 3 months or so, really just focusing on you. The way they're making it feel like is like, on the rom-com where it's like the girl is broken up and she's like, oh, I've had enough crappy relationships. I'm done. Like, I'm just going to like go out and enjoy life by myself. It feels like that. And then like while you're doing that, that's when you meet someone. But I feel like even if I say that to you, you're going to be like, I have to go do that so that it happens. Like, it's like you're not just trusting and allowing the universe. You're like insistent on it happening the way you want it to happen, or it's got to happen. Is wherever you were supposed to take a train, is there like, I keep seeing cobblestone streets and like a white building, a square white building. Not square, but you know what I mean? It has angles, it's not roundish. You don't have bad luck, Devery. I had some. So my chiropractor, excuse me, was like, he's like, oh, I have this person who reads charts, like it's his mom's friend, and they're Russian. And I was like, oh yeah. So she looked at it and he goes, she said you're cursed. Like, and I was like, oh, well, I mean, whatever. What's a curse to somebody? One person is a blessing to another. Who knows? Maybe I am. But the point being, I don't think a broken mirror is going to make you have bad luck. Okay, Allie. So Ashley, it just feels like it feels like they are literally not showing me anything about him. It's like they're focusing on you and you spending the time on you. Hi, Julia. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Oh, I always felt like I was unlucky too. And I don't know. And now that I look back, it's like it's a lot around your art. Because I see it all the time, and I don't mean to be like, well, self-worth, but it's like I spent a lot of time not thinking I was worthy or good enough, and I tolerate a lot of like not so great stuff. What's the question? Because it's a statement here. It says you mentioned before April, and the one I've asked you about multiple times before S. So they're not showing it. Now, sometimes they're intentional about why they don't show me things, because if I saw that thing was going to fall through or whatever, like maybe there's a reason for all of that, and it's not clear until you're far enough out away from it. So like I look at a lot of the things that I went through, I'm like, oh, well, now I see the connections and I understand it. But at the time I was so lost and so hurt and I totally didn't get it. And a lot of it's like, there's like you see patterns or you see, I don't know. And there's still a ton of stuff about life that we won't understand, I feel like, until we're done. And that's just the way it is. And intentionally, I don't always get all of the information because I'm not supposed to and you're not supposed to. Maybe it would sway things differently. I don't know. Can you write S's name? It just feels very energetically like not connecting. Oh, okay. Thank you. They're not giving me anything. So maybe it will happen. It's hard for me to go back into that energy and be like, yeah, I said it for a reason. So I don't understand it. I don't know. Maybe it will be. Maybe that's the couple months that you need, the 2-3 months or whatever that it is. Timing is not perfect. So I feel like if I'm in a month or so within that, then we're good. I don't remember all the readings I've done for you. But I know that when I say things that it happens for a reason, so maybe he will be back in. But they're literally not showing me anyone coming in. They're really focusing on you, like absorbing and taking in the world and really just enjoying it. He's trying to communicate, but you're ignoring him. Well, maybe you'll stop ignoring him in a couple months. I don't know. But I know what they're showing me is like you kind of by yourself and focusing on that, which I don't know. I feel like I've done enough readings for you and enough stuff has happened that you're like, okay, there's something to it. I need to just trust that. I mean, you can tell me to pounce in and jump on a dating app tomorrow or email that guy back and text him back and be like, I need you. I want you. Don't leave me. But I don't see that working out. So, well, then trust your intuition. I mean, maybe that's what a whole bunch of this is about is like learning to trust yourself a little bit more and trust your intuition and trust that, like, I didn't like that experience. That didn't feel good, but like, you don't have to accept it. You don't have to tolerate that kind of crappy behavior from a man or anyone. And I think it's fair and valid that if you do talk to him again, say like, when you did this, it made me feel this way. Like, would you be willing to admit it? Would you be like, whatever it is, say, I didn't really appreciate that behavior or that reaction. So I'm going to say this too, just because something doesn't get to somebody in the moment doesn't mean that at a point they don't reflect and reevaluate. I don't know. I'm literally getting stonewalled on everything when you're looking at relationship. They are literally not giving me anything. It is like I'm in a black room with no light. They are not giving me anything. They are showing me specifically you walking on a road, like in the middle of like a French, town, and there's cobblestones, and I'm seeing like a white little building. And the feeling I'm getting around that is like really learning to just appreciate, like date myself, take myself on dates, value myself, fall in love with myself. That's what it feels like. And anytime I try and ask about a man or that or Sebastian or anybody, it's literally like stonewall, stonewall, stonewall. I'm sure at the moment he did. All I'm saying is like, that's what they told me. I feel like I'm arguing with you and I don't know what else to do. Like sure. And I don't want to argue about it. It's like, I can't go back to what I got when I got it because I don't remember it, but I can tell you that like, there was a reason I got it that way. And I can also tell you that I have sometimes when we give information to somebody, it's not necessarily about them getting it in the moment. It's about planting a seed and then it makes sense later. So maybe it rolled around it, but at the time when you said it's like, well, no, it doesn't make any sense to them at that time. And I wasn't even, if I don't ask the question, will it ever make sense? Then they won't give that to me. It's literally like asking Siri a question, right? Or Alexa. If you don't ask the right question, you aren't going to get the right answer. That's like how readings is done. And I wish that it was like, well, they just pour out all the information. They don't. They just don't. And you can ask anybody who does these readings. It's like you sort of have to ask it the right way to get the right question. Anybody who does tarot, same thing. So it's like, I can only tell you what I got at that moment. And I can tell you now, I don't know. They're not showing me him coming back in. They're not showing me you in a relationship, but that doesn't mean you aren't going to be in a relationship. They're just saying, this is what we're giving you information on now. No matter how much you're asking it, no matter how you're asking it, we aren't giving you information on that. They're refusing. And I cannot make them. And I sort of think, honestly, what other readers do, maybe not all readers, I sort of think they make up stuff. And they won't honestly want to say is like, I'm not getting anything. But I don't know. I don't know how to make something up that I'm not seeing. And I know you're not really arguing, but sometimes I feel like there's this back and forth. But you said, I'm like, I get it, but I can only tell you what I'm getting right now. And when you do that, sometimes what it does is it throws me into a different energy. And I feel like now I'm second guessing myself. And then then it's not a good reading. And I need to stop because I know it's not coming authentically. I don't know why. And I'm not trying to be mean. So please don't, I'm really sorry if that's the way I'm coming across. It's frustrating because I can't give you what I'm not getting. And I would be lying if I did. And I would be not practicing from a place of integrity if I did. All I can show you is what they're showing me is like, at least for the next 3 months, focusing on falling in love with yourself. And it feels like this is what you will be doing. It doesn't feel like I'm telling you, you have to do this. It's like, there's something that's going to happen where you're like, I just need to focus on me. I can't help it. So then maybe stop asking me for love readings. I know you want to fall in love, but it is always really, really, really important that you fall in love with yourself first. It doesn't mean you can't have a relationship, but you have to compromise a lot to be with, you compromise yourself if you just want to be with anybody. I see you right now in the chat, Devery. I don't know why. And I don't mean to be like, don't ask me about love, but like, I don't know why they're not doing it. But I do know what they keep saying over and over again. And listen to me, I've been told that in readings when I was still, dating, and it was like, hey, like literally where I was like, what about this one? Nope, not him. No, like over and over, different guys. Nope, not him. Where I was like, desperate for it. And I think there was a part of me that I would never have admitted, but I really think I felt like genuinely I was somehow more valuable and worthy if someone else saw it in me. That I couldn't be enough if somebody didn't like romantically love me. That there was something wrong or broken with me. And that was absolutely not the case. But it was a self-concept issue. And I didn't understand all of that, right? I thought I was independent. I don't put up with anybody, blah, blah, blah. But there was that underlying feeling. Allie, what's your other question? And then did I give it to you? And then Autumn, you want to know what's coming in for your love. Allie, did you ask your second question? So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be little stinky pants here wagging my finger at you. Ali said, can my guides give me any more advice when it comes to romantic relationship? I feel like I've been thinking about it more seriously. I think I haven't been thinking about it how I'm supposed to. I notice that I've been caught up if someone finds me attractive and not if I can form a relationship with them. Isn't that, and like, it's like, if they find me attractive, that like, this is not psychic. This is just literally like me going, oh, well, that's a self-concept and a value thing. And I've been there. So I am not saying it from a perspective of like, look at how, whatever, like I have been there. It's like, oh, well, will I be smart enough? Will I be interesting enough? Like, and it really is like, you're absolutely right. And it's like, can you have a relationship with them? Are they somebody you're compatible with? But that's like, because that's like a whole societal belief system that gets like shoved at us. You know, the princess stories of like how beautiful and demure they are. And all the princesses are like super teeny tiny, and the beautiful women in Hollywood are all just like super slim, little girl bodies, or super slim, perfect hair, perfect nose, big boobs, like not what's reality. Women have hips and butts and sometimes no boobs, and like, but have great personalities. I think it's what life somewhat educated me. And a lot of us, yeah, like, am I attracted enough for somebody to fall in love with me? It's like, I'm going to tell you something, that I went to college with this girl, and it was the first time that it was so evident to me, like energetically, where it was like, everybody thought she was so pretty. And then I saw who she really was. I was like, she's not so pretty. Like, yeah, she's super slim. She has long blonde hair, but not so pretty. Interesting. It's starting to happen, and it's starting to shift, because you're also starting to see a lot of women be like, this is what it's like to be single and not married and not have kids when you're in your 40s. And these are all the kinds of things I can do. Like, they show that I'm still valuable. I'm still worthy. I still enjoy myself. I'm having fun. Smart, outgoing, pretty, but not too outgoing. And don't have a sex drive, but be totally crazy in bed. Don't have too many numbers ticked off, but make sure you're really experienced. And good, but not, and be funny, but not too funny. We don't want you to outshine any man. Be smart, but not too smart. We don't want you to outshine any man. Have an opinion, but not really. Just make sure it's my opinion. Like, so many crazy things. Be super active and fit, but don't eat. Don't eat. Have no hair. Don't have any hair whatsoever. There's a lot of crazy things. Have a super small waist, big boobs, large tush, and a super small waist. That doesn't happen naturally. It's just bananas. And always, always, always make sure you speak softly and sweetly, and just smile. Just always smiling, always be happy. The world is sunshiny. Okay, Deborah, I got it. Okay, I gotta answer Ali stuff. The world is weird, and I've never realized how much I played into the misogyny when I was younger. I've always gotten along great with guys because I could say whatever I wanted, but then I was also just a friend. Like I was always the friend. You're like our sister. I was always like, what's wrong with me? Oh, well, I have an opinion and I'm loud and I'm not obnoxious. And okay, so um, I didn't play the games well. I feel like I need to give you your money back on this because it's not, it to me, it's like, I'm like, this doesn't feel like, it just feels like, it's not anything you have to do. It's sort of all the stuff that you're doing right now. You're really starting to look at it differently. You're starting to contemplate life differently and be like, oh, it's like your eyes are opening up, you're maturing. And instead of being like playing into the role, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like you're questioning your own belief systems and you're shifting your own belief systems. And that's where it shifts the type of relationships you get into and the type of relationships you accept in your life. And not just romantically, I'm talking about friendships and coworkers and just acquaintances. Like, oh, is that really worth my time? And like, what am I getting from this? Like, what am I getting from it? Not what do I have to offer them, but like, what am I getting from this? I got you, Devery. Sometimes it's not really about taking action. It's about sitting and observing your own thoughts that makes the big shifts in your life. It's not like, oh, well, if I just, you know, you're doing your side by recognizing, like, oh, these are kind of interesting belief systems I held for a really long time. I don't have to do that anymore. Like, just because society says that I'm supposed to be silent and whatever, well, it doesn't mean that everybody believes that. It's a common belief system, but there are plenty of men out there who are like, no, I want somebody who has an opinion, who's thoughtful and who's smart and who's creative and who's like, you know, isn't afraid to say that because and honestly, the younger generations are sort of starting to get it because I see it a lot more. You don't have to talk and be outgoing. You be exactly who you are. And that's the thing, is there's nothing you have to turn yourself into and like twist and like, if I just pose just this way and if I just do that, you don't have to do any of that. You have to learn to love yourself just as you are. And that takes really looking at, like, I'm not perfect, but I'm still lovable. And that's the reality. Nobody is perfect, but they're still lovable. Like they're saying, it's not about an external force. It's about you going internally and looking at your belief system, so therefore you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And that your internal belief systems come from a multitude of places, like society, advertising, marketing, corporations. How can we sell? Let's make sure that they feel insecure about this so we can sell, 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 sell. You need this. We'll create a problem for you. And we also have the solution, right? Your boobs aren't big enough. So we will build you a bra with water inserts. I forgot about these. Someone was like, did you wear a water bra or Wonder Bra? It was like a TikTok thing. And I was like, oh, I forgot about water bras. And I always thought, it's so weird. You wear these bras, make your boobs all big, but then they see you naked and they're not. So like, are they disappointed? It's a trick. Well, someone will value the fact that you are quiet and a bit more introverted because they know that when you speak, it's valuable. There's nothing wrong with being quiet and introverted. Someone actually told me, like someone in high school, I remember she was like, oh yeah, we had this class together. I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, yeah, but you just didn't talk. And I was like, I talked a lot, but maybe I didn't. And I do know that there's certain circumstances where I don't talk a lot. I just watch. But there's nothing wrong with that. People who talk a lot can be exhausting. I can be exhausting. I know I can. Don't know when to stop. Just kidding. Sometimes I don't. I think the only way that someone would think that is if you were just like, oh, really? Not talking doesn't mean that you don't like someone, you're not engaged. Sometimes it means you're a good listener. There's the flip of that. And a lot of people have to learn to listen. I mean, I've been making observations. You're like talking about this stuff where it's like, I've been like making a lot of observations about relationships and all of that kind of stuff. Where I'm like, oh God, like that's interesting. And especially because I'm trying to reflect a healthier way of like looking at the world for my daughters and approaching it so they don't feel so insecure. Like, why everybody doesn't like me? It's like, fuck it. Not everybody's going to like you. All right. So they're saying like, literally, like there's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's like, literally you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I also think this stuff they're like, this is valuable for everyone to hear. Whoever's going to be watching this, it's really important that they hear this section too. Hopefully they made it through this hour and 17 minutes. I digress. Okay, Autumn, you want to know what's coming for you in love? And then Deborah, what's your other question? Okay, Autumn. They're like, she's not putting herself out there. It's literally like, I wanted to just show up on my doorstep. Like, tell me what the path is. Tell me exactly what I need to do because I'm just sitting here and I just want it to happen. Hence the gentleman who's in a relationship. And I'm like, so what's going on? It's like this, it's this fear of rejection, fear of failure. I do feel a bit of like body dysmorphia, which sort of holds you back. Because it feels like a lot of like, if I'm not the right body type. Not everybody wants a rail thin person. I remember I dated a guy. At a point when I lived in New York City, I was a size 0. I am not now. I've been anywhere my entire life. It's like from a 0 to a 14. When I got out of college, I was like a 14. I was a 0. It's not to like brag or whatever. I would not consider myself healthy. I had a very physical job and I walked a lot and I also, so I was not healthy. I was not healthy. I did not have muscle tone. I was like not healthy. Okay. So I want to like clarify that. But I dated a guy at that point and we didn't date long either. I had a lot of not dating long people. Trust me. And he was like, you're the perfect size right now. And I was like, well, bitch, I may get fatter at point. Like I may gain weight. Like you still gonna want that? And I remember just being so like, ew. Like I was really grossed out by that comment. Like that was not realistic. Like women's bodies change throughout our lives. Like we are not going to be the size we are when we're 25 or, pre-kids when we're in our 40s after kids. So, I just don't feel like it's going to happen that way, like bumping into the street on them. Um, but it's not even just that like, oh, you need to go on a dating app. It's like energetically, you need to be like, all right, universe, like I'm ready. Send me on the journey. I'm ready and I'm open and I'm willing. Like make a list of like this or better and literally make sure you include, please include this: honest, trustworthy, emotionally available, emotionally mature, open and willing to go to therapy. Like these are all important aspects that I think they're needed. um, I mean, I was like, oh, financially stable, all that stuff, but like those are important qualities too when you're in a long-term relationship, right? I wish that was on my list too. Anyway, so point being, you didn't hear me say that. Okay, so point being, it's just hard, man. Make those lists, but then just say, all right, universe, like I don't need to dictate it. I don't need to control it. Just intuitively let me know how I'm supposed to do this. Because I did that with a lot of stuff where I was like, literally Googled, this is how I met Radhika. Literally Googled, how do you make friends in New York City? Because I was working and like a lot of the people that I worked with, they were nice enough. They weren't mean or anything like that. I wasn't like, like the people that I connect with that were nurses and are also travelers, but they just had different interests. Like their interests were like, they wanted to go out and like be all sparkly and do like New York City nightlife. And I was like, where's the next dive bar? Like, can I crawl into a hole in the back and just like have a drink and talk to like a local guy, like a local, like I don't care if you don't need to buy drinks for me. I'm perfectly able to buy my own drink. It just like not schmoozy oozy. Like I was like, can I show up not fancy? I like to dress up very occasionally, but like mostly the clothes are not comfortable. like, like I have to hold myself just perfectly. Like this sweater had a tag in it, y'all, and I went and literally pulled all the seams out so there's no remnants of the tag in it because that's how sensitive I am. Anyway, so it just feels like make the list and literally put out to the universe. So then I found like this thing popped up and like there's other things where I'll just be like, show me. And like if I'm not sure if it's that, I'm like, validate it. And it was literally like, even I met my husband on Match. I was like, if this is supposed to be the way, like let it happen. Cause I'm like, ready to like pack up and leave New York. Cause I'm kind of over it. And I think because I was like over it and I was just like, whatever happens, happens. And then also one way I do this, and I feel like you could do this too, is I always ask them to show me in my dreams, like what it'll be like. And it doesn't necessarily mean you'll see the person, but like, I was like, I remember asking him before I went to New York, like, what's it going to be like when I live in New York? And I didn't see New York City. I saw myself like doing my hair like this, curling my hair up my finger. And I was like, that's ridiculous because I have curly hair and I'm not using curling. Like who curls a hair? Well, when I got here, there was a guy selling, I don't know if they still do this, but there was a guy selling like where you could buy 5 haircuts for $125 on the street. And I was like, I'll do it. Like, I've had some really bad haircuts. Can't be that bad. And it was like this like nice salon. I guess that was just opening up and they were trying to get new clients and stuff in it. It was like on the Upper East Side. And I was like, okay. And he showed me how to fix, like he had somebody who was training. So it made me think that was part of it too. He was training some people. And he was like, oh no, this is how you do curly hair. And literally then there was a point where I was in my apartment and I was in the mirror and I saw exactly what I saw in my dream of me curling my hair that way. And now I do it to this day, to like keep my curls together and less frizzy and stuff. Cause man, they used to be frizzy. So I'll ask like, what's it going to be like when I'm here? What's it going to be like when I'm in that relationship? So it's asking in a trusting way. Like, I know this is going to happen. Just give me a nugget. I feel like you could do that. Okay, Devry, what's your question? And I think, Allie, did you have another one? Or did I answer yours? No, I answered yours because that was Autumn's. I answered yours. Devry, what's your your question? Then I'm going to skedaddle, if that's okay. I want to see the fruits of my labor come into reality, but my financial situation is making it hard to execute them. Do you see all or some of the important goals coming finally accomplishing this year? It's interesting because I feel like you have a list much longer, but they're showing me 3 by the end of the year. And I also feel like with your shop, it's more your head getting in the way of the action, because I feel like financially you could do this because it would be like a print on demand thing. It's not you having to buy a whole bunch of supply and store supply and then ship. And it's interesting because I feel like it'll be like a little bit of orders coming in here and there. Like it's not going to feel like a lot. And you're like, oh my God, is this worth it? But it's literally like, so with those print on demand things, you have to pay the print on demand company first, and then you get your money like through whatever. It's not like you provide the money initially up front. It's not necessarily the customer. I think that's what I understood it to be. And it feels like, so it'll be enough to get you going, and then you'll like set money aside and then have that to put towards it. So it feels like that's where you start. They're showing me a broom, almost like a cinnamon broom. Did you put something by your door like to bring in money, or have you seen those cinnamon brooms before? So it's not that it's all of that stuff isn't going to come to pass. I do feel like some of your goals are going to shift up slightly, and you're going to be like, oh, I don't really want that anymore. Like I thought I needed it. Yes, drop shipping. Yes. They're showing me something about like a cinnamon broom, or have you been doing like where you blow cinnamon, like that little witchy tip that you see sometimes on TikTok? There's something about cinnamon. Did your grandmother keep a cinnamon broom? Because they see a grandmother figure, and there's some connection to this cinnamon broom, and like if you don't do it, it might benefit you. Ask your mom. I feel like someone was like not a closet witch, but had a lot of superstitious things, and that this is like bring it back. I heard she's happy. Let a few will get accomplished. Okay. Yeah, I feel like 3 for sure, but it doesn't mean the others won't. It just feels like it's like those lead to the others, but it's going to take a little bit more time because I feel like you bit off a large list. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but it feels like it would be like almost overwhelming if it all happened in a short period. I actually feel like I have to tell you this. She's happy. I feel like that's about the grandmother. So I feel like she kind of had a little bit of a rough experience in the human world. And I feel like she's like laughing a lot, and she's happy now. Excuse me. So I'm with you, baby. Did she rock a lot? Or would she have rocked you? Because I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm just like randomly rocking. I feel like she was a good storyteller. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say goodnight, adieu. I'm going to go, I don't know, eat some food, maybe watch the puppy bowl. Thank you for joining me. I always enjoy everybody being here. I really do appreciate getting to spend time with y'all and knowing that it's like a good group of people. And I appreciate you trusting me and even putting up with my frustratedness. So, Ashley, if you're still here, I am sending you a big hug. I'm sorry I got frustrated. I'm laughing at myself, not at you. All right, big hugs. I will see you next week. Enjoy your week. Love yourself. It's Valentine's Day, so make sure you tell yourself every day, I am lovable. I love myself. I am loved. Because you're all lovable, wonderful people. I would block you if you weren't. Have a good week. Thank you, Julia.